FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band. We play on The Dark. And on the phone tonight, I'm talking with Eric from the band Shallow Side. And of course, their latest song that's spinning on our airwaves is Rebel. And the cool thing, Eric, about Rebel, and I'm sure you guys are pretty excited about this too, that I just saw on the charts this week, it charted in the top 50 for the first time on the Active Rock Media Base charts. That's got to be a pretty awesome honor for you guys to be in the top 50.
Absolutely. To be on any chart is always an honor, but to be on that chart where you see all the bands that you loved growing up and then your name is right beside theirs, man, there's no better feeling than to be appreciated in the same realm.
That is cool. That is very cool. And it's so timely. We have this interview too with that. And I've had other artists I've talked to in the past, and they've just hit the chart for the first time too. And it's just kind of cool to hear what goes through their mind. And I guess really what I want to get to start with right away here is kind of getting the history of the band Shallow Side. Of course, you guys are out of Alabama, but how did this band all come about? How did Shallow Side become Shallow Side?
So it pretty much started as your run-of-the-mill, regular, ordinary couple of guys playing some music, jamming some tunes that were already on the radio, and then we decided that we liked doing that so much. We started having a couple of friends over, and a couple turned into several, and then we would have to schedule it for the weekends, and then we would try to come up with more songs to play. And it wasn't like a cover band. It was pretty much we were just hanging out playing music. And then on the days that we were rehearsing, started writing our own music. And then the weekends rolled around, and people would ask hey, play that one song that you guys wrote Monday, and it's Friday, and there was 20 people there, and then the next Friday rolls around, and then there's 40 people, and we're at this backyard, and then the next thing you know, we're throwing pretty large parties, and we can't throw parties anymore because the cops are showing up before we even get there because social media is a thing nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And so they're beating us to the punch. So we turn around and we set up a venue, and we go about it a legitimate way, and the party turns from 80 people to 150 people, and the next thing you know, there's 400 kids at our show in our hometown in Coleman, Alabama, where we're from. It's North Alabama. And then we moved it. We moved the show to Birmingham, and then we took the show to Huntsville, and then we took it to Atlanta, and then we started playing in Nashville, and then we started playing in Tupelo, Mississippi, and then Memphis, and the next thing you know, we're playing 250 shows a year, and we hadn't been home but 2 weeks out of the year so far. So that's kind of how it started, where it began, and kind of where we're at now.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And that's the thing. I mean, everybody has a dream to go do something they want to do, but it's a matter if you can get to that plateau. And there's a lot of, I'm sure, bumps in the road for everybody, and I'm sure there was a lot of bumps in the road for you guys too to get where you're at now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that we take with us everywhere we go, and one thing we talk about while we're actually performing is the yin yang of life. With all the good obviously comes the bad. It's the wonderful part. We get to play rock and roll every single night. I don't know one person in the world who would be like, no, I don't feel like doing that. Of course you want to do that. That's the best job there is. But then, again, with the good comes the bad. We don't get to go home very often. Birthdays just slip right by you. There's holidays that, pass over, and all you get is a FaceTime or a Skype session. Their birthdays, every time you come back home, the city's changed tenfold, and the friends that you used to have kind of went by the wayside, and everyone continues to grow, life marches on.
And the other
Then
thing,
again, you get to play rock and roll every night. So.
yeah, that's awesome. The one thing, when we were talking about, the ups and the downs is, you got a lot of people out there that are pulling for you, but sometimes you have some people that maybe aren't doing the best things for you either, which sometimes that steers you down the wrong path too, right, Eric?
That's so true. That's so true. It's definitely checks and balances. You always gotta watch what's going on. There's always someone there that's clapping in your background,
Right.
and you'll make eye contact with them. But as soon as you turn your head, they're the ones that are trying to create the parachute to slow you down. There's always someone not wanting to see you succeed by their own guilt, for not going after their own dreams and stuff.
We're talking with Eric from the band Shallow Side, and you were saying you're on a skateboard right now. Am I correct on that? You're on a skateboard. We're doing this interview.
I'm whipping around on a longboard here in where am I?
Here in
Detroit, Michigan, somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere around this area. I'm not exactly sure geographically where I'm at, but it's a beautiful day. And
nice.
I usually try to take advantage of the nice days. We don't get to see a lot of it.
I can't say I've ever had anybody do an interview on a skateboard yet, so you're my first.
Well, all right. Hey, we stay active. I got to stay young and healthy. So anything to pass the time too.
Speaking of young and being healthy, when you were younger, what did you listen to? What did you grow up to? Kind of what influenced you to become the lead singer of the band Shallow Side?
I was a radio kid. Whatever was on the radio, like when I was growing up, Garth Brooks had probably like all the hits that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
Side note, that guy sold 7 diamond. He got an award for 7 diamond records, which is insane.
Right.
But yeah, country, rock and roll, R&B. That's something that a lot of people don't really, I guess, understand or really even know. Something I don't think I really ever talked about was R&B was a huge influence on me. I used to listen to, so much old blues and the new blues that was coming out. But it wasn't, to me, it was just radio. And that's the stuff that was like speaking to my soul. That was the music that was hitting home to me. But it wasn't until I went and saw like my first couple of concerts that my mind was changed, and I decided I needed to go do this. We were in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We had traveled to Chattanooga, Tennessee, after school one day on a Friday to go and see Shinedown. They're playing in an arena over there, and unbeknownst to us, the lights go down and your heart's pounding. And you're so excited, and this girl comes out, and she's got a hood on and a cloak-looking thing, and the largest voice I've ever heard just pounds through the speakers, and lo and behold, it's Lizzie Hale, and she's killing it. A cappella is when they were doing "It's Not You." So that was a concert that they kind of set me up, and then we watched 10 Years take the stage, and huge fan of those guys as well, which we've got to tour with since we've started touring. And then Save and Abel took the stage right after that, and we toured with them as well. And then Shinedown comes on, and that was the moment. They kind of hit it for me, and I was like, I have to do this. Yeah. This is where I'm supposed to be. So all that meshed up together, and that's musically kind of who and where I am.
Very cool. You mentioned some of those bands and that. Have you had a chance to? I mean, you mentioned Saving Abel. You mentioned 10 Years. I know those guys pretty well. Have those guys helped you in the industry? Are there other bands out there that have helped you along to get to where you guys are right now?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
And it's nothing against them.
Right.
But it wasn't. It also wasn't a thing where there was a conversation or a handshake or a opportunity to say, "Hey, could you could you help us out? You know, could you lend a hand?
Right.
We grew up, the way that we grew up was pretty modest, very hardworking people. So to lend out a hand without, expectations isn't really like our thing. We pretty much would prefer to get it on our own,
Right.
work for it on our own. And it's just, that's something that people don't teach you. That, like you of all people know that being an entertainer is not something that you just like pick up a book and learn how to do.
Right.
You just can't. They don't have classes to teach you how to do talent. It just comes to you. So, no, unfortunately, they haven't. But we have played shows with them where I've watched their skill set grow, their talent level, develop further than what it already is, and it drives me. So I guess in a sense, they've always been there to help.
Absolutely.
Some way or another.
Right. Let me ask you this question, since we're talking about bands and that. Now, currently you're out on a tour with Rachel Lauren and also with Bridge to Grace, which is really cool. But if you had to put together, Eric, your ultimate 3-band bill, so we're going to have Shallow Side go out with 3 other bands, who would you really love to go out and play with?
That's a tough one. I feel like I would definitely have to tour with Shondell.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like at some form or another, some way, it happened. I blame them for me being me. So
okay,
them, definitely be them, and I don't know who the other guys would be. Fallout Boy. They put on an incredible show.
Yeah.
Which would be a strange mix for a full rock show, but
you mentioned
sell out huge crowds. So
you mentioned being
those two.
You mentioned being a kid of radio, though. Back in the day, radio wasn't necessarily just one format, one genre. It was more segmented towards day parts of what people listened to. So, you might have in the morning maybe some lighter stuff, and then the afternoon it was, work related, and then the evening it would be heavier. So, radio has changed over the years. So there's nothing wrong with having a different eclectic of bands on a tour. I think that'd be really cool, actually, to actually do something like that rather than just have one genre. I mean, I'd actually love to see, and I'm just going to throw out some names here, but I would love to see like Metallica, Carrie Underwood, and Kanye West show or something like that. I mean, some goofy something like that. I mean, it'd just be different.
Why not?
Why not, right?
Why not? It's music. It's not a competition.
Right.
I say that all the time. That there's a reason why Metallica fans listen to Metallica the same way that it's literally the same reason why Carrie Underwood fans listen to Carrie Underwood, and Kanye, all the same. It's not competition. There's love for the music. There's passion in it. So I'm all for it. I'll buy tickets to it.
That'd be kind of interesting. It would be. Hey, how about some current bands out there in active rock right now that you're kind of digging right now? Of course, you guys are kind of in the active rock scene. You guys come up against other bands. Who are some other bands out there that you're really liking right now?
There was a band. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Kaleo.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Kaleo. Yep.
Is that right?
I believe that's the way I've been pronouncing it. Yeah.
Just broke out. Those guys.
Yep.
Incredible. Highly suspect.
Yep.
Really digging their vibes. The guy has a sweet melody. He's always got like these fresh melodies. So
right.
I'm into that stuff. 21 Pilots. I've been a big fan of theirs for a pretty long time. But they're kind of like, riding the fence on whether they're active rock or, playing pop or they're playing, active rock that's went so popular that it's on pop radio. So,
Gotcha.
Who's another one? Yeah, those guys.
That sounds good to me. Hey, we're talking to Eric here from the band Shallow Side. Let's get back to the band a little bit more. Shallow Side is the name. Any story behind that, or why you guys named yourself Shallow Side?
Yeah, we wanted a name that was going to stick with us. That wasn't. It was honest, and that's kind of, who and where we came from. Was we were looking at the music industry before we even knew that there was an actual music industry. We were just calling it a music industry because that's what everyone else called it.
Right.
So we were looking at it as a big pull, and that's where we were. We were in the shallow side of it, and like I was saying earlier, we're extremely hard working, and always got the sun on our backs and the wind in our faces, and constantly pushing, fighting for more, and no matter, we taught ourselves, no matter how far we got, no matter how deep it went, we'd always grow with it. So the pool would never be big enough for us. We'd always just be in the shallow side of it.
Very cool. Very cool. Say, currently we're spinning your song Rebel here on the airways. We've also played, I know, My Addiction and Stand Up before, too. Talk about Rebel a little bit. I guess the current single, which we, at the top of the program here, we talked about it, just hit the top 50. What is the story behind this song? Kind of what's the meaning of the song Rebel to you?
So we touched a little bit on it earlier about talking about the people who are going to be clapping behind you,
right?
But just as soon as you turn your head, they're trying to hold you back, and that's kind of where it came from. With anything in life, there's going to come a struggle, and if you are defying the odds of what is the normal path, people are going to question not only your path, but you and your judgment too. So I kind of, when I sat down and wrote the song, I kind of felt that I was having these past memories come back to me of when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to live a regular life? When are you going to come home? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? And the whole time I was thinking, how can you just not be happy? Because I'm happy. There was one goal I had when I set out, playing music and being in a rock band, was I just wanted to pay my bills, and I wanted to play music. I had two solid goals, and I felt like those were very, very adult-minded goals. If I could just pay my bills and play some music, and it all those emotions ran back to me, and I kind of felt like when we first started, we were in the movie Footloose, and everyone in our band was just a bunch of Kevin Bacons, and we wanted to dance, and no one wanted us to dance, so we only had one choice. We had to, bring that middle finger back to rock and roll and say, I don't care.
Right. That's very cool.
You can call me a rebel, but we're going to continue to do this thing.
Awesome. Hey, have you heard your song Rebel on the airwaves?
I have not yet.
Really? Okay.
I have not yet. There's been a few times that, I guess I have, but I haven't considered it. I knew that it was going to be played because it was, in a cage match or something like that. So I tuned in and listened, but it hasn't been one of those moments where I've just been listening to the radio and then boom, it pops on.
What do you think it's going to mean to you when you do hear that?
I don't know yet. I hope that we're able to stop somewhere so I just don't pee all over myself. At least get the ground wet.
Oh, boy. Hey, one more question I got to ask you here, and before we get going is, and I like to ask with all the interviews that I do, if any artists out there can be in play on this, but what artist would you like to cover a Shallow Side song?
Ooh.
And it can be any genre too of anything. I've had so many wide variety of answers. So
I would like to hear Drake.
Drake, okay. I was gonna say
Cover a Shallow Side song.
I knew you were gonna go pop on me just because of some of the songs for you, so I could see that. Yeah, what song would you like Drake to sing for you?
Oh man, it'd have to be one of the songs coming up off of our new album.
Okay, sounds good.
One. So it'd be one of those songs yet, but I won't release the name of it. So
Okay.
it'd be a new one.
All right. So you led right into my next question. The new album. What's on the horizon for Shallow Side?
We have a brand new album coming out. We're still out touring right now, promoting Rebel. So we're probably going to release a couple more singles before the album actually drops.
Okay.
But that's what's in the mix right now is new music and constant touring. We're going to be out on this run all the way up until December. So for all the listeners, if you're listening in, you can find all of our dates at shallowside.net, all of merch shallowside.net, any information shallowside.net, and if that's too difficult, you could just Google Shallowside. That's probably the easiest way.
Hey, you just answered my next question. I was going to say, how do people find out
I'm
more
segueing
information?
us.
You knew it already, didn't you? It's not your first.
I'm segueing us.
Hey, Eric, a lot of fun talking with you, and I think you're making some stops up here in Minnesota sometime in November. I believe that's the case, so hopefully we'll have to hook up sometime and meet. And then, of course, our listeners out there listening, make sure you check them out on their social media sites to find out where they're playing, and you can check these guys out. They're a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to some new stuff. Thanks so much for joining me, Eric.
Hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
Could you guys do me a favor? Since it's going to be November and we are from Alabama, if you guys just go ahead and turn the heaters on now. So by the time we get there, it's just going to be a lot cold and not like a frozen tundra cold. That would be great.
Hey, we'll
appreciate that.
We'll make sure it's nice and warm for you come November, all right?
Perfect. I'm going to hold you to it now.
Sounds good. Once again, that is Eric from the band Shallow Side. Their latest song is called Rebel. You're hearing it right now. You're hearing it on FM 94's The Dark.